was happy to play for a penny or two a song, till a fella in a black sedan took a shine to my one-man band. He said, we got plans for you, you'd never dream. You're a star, a army suit and a new guitar, and I know that you'll go far, 'cause you're a star.
Yes. Now then. Will that take you back to the New Faces theme? If you can remember that, you're nearly dead. But this is what it's always about, this. This is a show all about me, and I'm quite flattered, really, because you don't normally get shows like this until you are dead. You know them shows where you've died and they all cry a bit and they come on and say nice things about you, don't they? They do. Yeah, they probably can't find anyone to say anything nice about me. All the people who want to say things about me have already said things about me to the papers. For money. Well, it serves me right for marrying them, doesn't it, really? So looking back over my career, looking back... That's how the other half started. Looking back over my career so far, ladies and gentlemen, there's one big question, right? How have I lasted this long? Well, this is what I'm going to talk about tonight, right? I was born in a little fishing village in south-east London called Kidbrooke. Have you heard of that? Holborn Road, Kidbrooke, London, SE3. Dear old Kidbrooke. Do you know it? Yeah. Yeah, it's next to Charlton, SE7, or as you football fans know, Charlton Nil. Well, they're called Charlton Athletic, but we call them Charlton Nil because that's what you always heard on Saturday night, sitting down, waiting for your local team to do well. West Ham 6, Charlton 0. Now, put it this way, when I was a kid, I was the kind of lad, my mum didn't want me to play with. You know, it's funny, really. South East London was tough in those days. Well, it was a tough place, South East London. I know down our street, a policeman knocked at a lad's door, right? Little kid come out like this, smoking a fag, drinking a large scotch. The copper said, "Is your mum and dad in?" He said, "Does it look like they're in?" Which brings me nicely to my mum and dad. Now, I'll tell you about my mum and dad. My dad was some soldiers from... Did I read that right? Was a soldier from Glasgow. And, yes, my dad was a jock. Some jocks. My dad was a jock. And from him I got the name of Cameron and a taste for... My Christian name is Cameron. That's who I got from my dad. And a taste for whiskey. From my dad. That's the Scottish blood. In fact, women and whiskey killed my father. He couldn't get either, so he shot himself. Any Scottish people in? Yeah! I think it's good. Now, Scottish people are quite unique. I don't know if your dad did this. My dad used to always wash at the kitchen sink. I never knew him have a bath. In 40 years I knew my dad. I never see him go in the bathroom. He always washed at the kitchen sink with a towel tucked in round his neck, hanging down like Batman, and he made a noise when he washed. Did your dad do that? Made that noise. Why did they make that noise? And then he'd do that. Why did I do that? He did. He had terrible bad eyes, my dad. And he was one of these people that never go to the doctors. He was a bit frightened of the doctors. And he wouldn't even have his eyes checked. So me and my brother Billy, we went down to Woolwich and bought him a pair of glasses from a market. You know, the ones with the bifocals, the penalty areas, when you look down, your eyeballs turn into bulldogs. Like that. You look like a Japanese sniper, my dad, you know. Look up to the sun and his eyebrows are catch fire. And he's gone in a pub in Woolwich, had a few pints, and he's come out the toilet, soaked, all down the front of his trousers. I said, "What's the matter, Dad?" He said, "It's these bloody bifocals." I said, "What's up?" He said, "I was having a wee and I looked good and I said, 'Do." One great big one and one wee little one. I said, "Why are you soaking wet?" He said, "Well, I knew the big one wasn't mine, so I put it back." My mother was Irish. Any Irish people in? Oh, there's two. Hello there. My mother was from Cork. Well, she came from Woolwich, actually, but before she was Cork. She was from Cork. And she used to moan at me about doing Irish jokes. And then she used to tell me Irish jokes. You know, there's some great ones. An Irishman in a pub having a pint, and he said to this waitress, "Can I buy you a drink?" She said, "You're wasting your time with me, Paddy. I'm a lesbian." "Holy shite," he said. "What part of lesbian do you come from?" She said, I'm a lesbian. He said, I don't know what one of them is. She said, well, put it this way. See that waitress over there? I'd like to rip her dress off and bite her bum. He said, Holy Mary, Mother of God. He said, what's up with you? He said, I think I'm a lesbian too. So my old man's a jock and my mother's a paddy, right? Although she had a Cockney accent. Can you imagine the punch-ups in my house? It was unbelievable. My mother, right, being a nice Irish Catholic woman, decided to send me to a Catholic school. This is true, this. When I was 15, no, younger. When was I was 11. I went to St Austin's Roman Catholic School for boys in Chalton Hill. No, because she wanted me, one, to have a great education, two, she wanted me to have a strong Catholic upbringing, but most important of all, no other school would have me. I had a great time in school. I used to be captain of the football team. Did you know that? Yes, if any of my old mates remember, I got a phone call the other day. I'm just talking to the boys from St Austin now. I got a phone call from George Campbell. Now, George Campbell was a black guy, mate of mine, and he was the one that I loosely based Chalky on. Remember that character, Chalky? Yeah. Well, I don't do Chalky anymore because black guys don't talk like West Indians anymore. So Chalky would be the, is he talking about my dad or what? But George Campbell was a black guy. We played football together. We were best mates. And I remember after I left school, I started working in a co-op. I didn't last there long because I got the sack for putting my willy in the bacon slicer. Don't laugh, she got the sack as well. But, come on, these are old jokes now, come on. I saw George Campbell down in Lewisham, okay? And he'd grown some twiglets. You remember when black guys, they don't have hair now, black guys, bald, glasses, BMW. Now, George had the old twiglets. And I went up to him, I said, hello, George, with about half a dozen of guys, you know. And he said, hey, yeah, all right, now, me go around the corner, go do some smoking and that drinking, man, and the reggae and the blues and all of this thing. I said, George, what are you talking like that for? He said, I'm with me mates. Yeah. Now then, so the time I was 17, I was doing jokes. That was how I actually started playing drums in a pub in Woolwich. And then started to tell jokes, see. Real dodgy pubs, seedy clubs, tacky strip joints, all that stuff. In fact, I used to go out with a stripper, Val the stripper. I'll tell you about it later on. Anyway, we used to have these real dodgy audiences, real ferocious bastards. You know, the one thing on their mind, you know, kill the comedian. Now, if they liked you, they were fair, they let you live. And you haven't lived till you've done a one-night stand at the Whoopee Club in Walthamstow. The first time I did my act, right, at this Whoopee Club, I barely got out alive. Half the audience was booing and half of them was clapping. And the people who were clapping the people who were booing. Walthamstow. So I went back there a couple of weeks ago and 3 local lads shared my car. Yes. One took the radio, the other 2 took the tyre. And eventually, now this is true, I got an audition for Opportunity Knocks with Huey Green. Friends, I want to tell you. Remember Huey Green? Yeah. I was... There, I did my audition, failed totally. He said, how long have you been doing it, old son? I said, about 2 years. And he said, well, go away and practice. I was devastated. I really smacked in the mouth. And I lived with Val the stripper in the Old Kent Road. Not only was she a stripper, she was like an 8-round preliminary fighter as well. She was the best boxer I've ever met in my life, you know. If you were out drinking, you argue with her, whack, smack in the mouth. So I phoned my manager up and I said, I've lost the audition for Opportunity Knocks. Don't worry, he said, I'll get you an audition for New Faces. That'll do me. So I went out with Val the stripper, and she was stripping, taking her clothes off, and the blokes were running up, putting them on and running off. I was in my little brown dinner suit, my bow tie, telling all the jokes, you know, Chalky and Nick and all that stuff. And me and her on the way home had a huge fight, and she ripped my trousers off. I swear to God, ripped the lot to shreds. Now I've got to go to my audition for New Faces the next morning at Victoria Palace. You know that lovely theatre? And I've got no trousers, so I put a white pair of jeans on, my dinner jacket waistcoat, bow tie, frilly trick shirt with white jeans. And I stood in a queue and the bloke, he said, you here for the audition for New Faces? Yeah, I said, I am, yeah. He said, the producer's in. I said, oh. He said, Les Cox. I said, does he? Does he? Honest truth. So I walked on stage, right, in my little white jeans and my top, and I told 4 jokes to 4 people sitting in that great big theatre. You know that big theatre where Buddy was on for years? Sat there, these 4 blokes, and on the opening joke, Les Cox fell off his seat, right? And I knew I'd done well. I thought, this is great. And I went in the wings, Nick, up and said, Les Cox thought you were really good, but he wants to know, is that what you wear all the time? No, Val's buggered up my career. She's ripped me trousers off and the butler won't put me on because I haven't got a suit. So he said, walk this way, and I walked this way. And I met Les Cox, who was the producer of New Faces. And do you know what he said? Now, this is going to be the thing that changed my life, made my mum and me and Dad, made all of us, our lives changed from that 1 second there. And he said to me, shook my hands, and he said, I liked your act, young man. Thank you, Mr. Cox. And he said, can you do March the 9th? He didn't say, I'm going to put you on No Face. He asked me if I could do it. I should have said, no, I'm going fishing. I'll wait for stardom and riches after that. Anyway, I did New Faces. I got 117 points the first time. Do you remember it? Arthur Askey was on the panel. He was. Danny LaRue, fantastic. He said, I'm going to give that man 120. 119, then I'll give him one in the dressing room. But I remember that first night of New Faces, that changed my life, that did, and that old tune, it always gets me hair standing up. And I ran down to the phone box and I phoned my old mum up, Emmy, and I said, Mum, it's Cameron. And she immediately said, never mind, son. Because we recorded it on the Tuesday and it went out, she said, never mind, son, there'll be other times, you're still funny. I said, Mum, I won. You know, a little lump come up there like you do, and I said, Mum, you'll never work again as long as you live. And she never did. So it was all worth it, wasn't it? So now, I'll tell you what though, looking back, right, you got to laugh at some of the gear I was wearing. Do you remember what I used to look like? I was like a stick insect in the wind. And my hairstyles, well, they were like my marriages, always changing.
Seek him here, and seek him there. His clothes are loud, but never square. It will make or break him, so he's got to buy the best, 'cause he's a dedicated follower of fashion. Oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is, oh yes he is. Thinks he is a power to be looked at. He pulls his frilly nylon and his raked up tight, he feels a dedicated follower of fashion. He's a dedicated follower of fashion. He's a dedicated follower of fashion.
That is bad, isn't it? And what they say in the papers, bird-pulling comic. How did I do it? They say that, how'd you manage to get them women in? Well, they say what comedians often say, don't they? They say, I laughed them into bed. Well, a lot of crap. No, the truth is, before New Faces, this is true. Don't tell anybody, you people listening to this. Right, when I was a window cleaner, I only had 4 women in my life, right? Now, when New Faces was transmitted, I had another 6 in the same week. What does that tell you, eh? I'm not just doing this because you're famous. Of course you're not, my dear. The first Doris I got the hots for when I was a kid, right? Right, I went to school with her. Her name was Fat Alice. George knows her as well. Fat Alice, big girl, make a good burger. Her ass would rub her footprints out. Alice, if you're watching, dear, do you remember the night we both lost our virginity at the same time? Yeah, it was great. It lasted 32 minutes. That included the half an hour it took to get to your place on the bus. Don't ask me why, but I suppose after years, about 2 years after leaving school, I got married to Sue. Hi, Sue. Yeah. Well, for the first time. Got married for the first time, right? Because looking back now, I realised I was a bit too young to get well. I was only 17 when I got married, and I was a bit young. In fact, I signed the marriage certificate with a crayon. And when they had a big meal at the reception, my mum wouldn't let me get up from the table till I'd eaten me greens. Enough of this rubbish. No, that was me, the first wedding, right? First wedding. And since then, I've been married for 28 years, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, not to the same woman. No, I've been unlucky like that, but I never go out with foreign girls. No. No, I don't like foreign girls. If something goes wrong with them, you can't get the parts, can you? Yeah, let's face it, lads, you've got to get married. You can't go through life being happy all the time, can you? You can't go through life knowing that you've got no faults. I must say marriage is a lot easier now since those two English blokes invented Viagra. Have you had any yet? I haven't had any, but my old mate down the road's had some. He didn't swallow them quick enough, got a stiff neck. They say it puts lead in your pencil, doesn't it? Well, that's all right if you've got someone to write to, I suppose. A mate of mine took 7 Viagra tablets on his honeymoon night. He thought, right, this is it. 7 tablets. Stevie Farr, his name was. He's getting on a bit, and he had 7 tablets, Viagra. Quick couple of pints, made sure they were working. Testing. Oh, ready to go. Run up the stairs at walk 9, threw the door open, and pole vaulted out the window.
Just kiss, let your tongue fool around, wasting precious time, don't talk, kiss, and make it mine. The one and only reason is fun. I said, well, baby, it's only just begun, so don't talk, just kiss. Let your tongue fool around. Come on.
People actually say to me, you know them actresses and them girls that you kiss on the telly, do you actually sleep with them? What a thing to say. Of course I do. No, this is acting. I had to stop it all, you know, because after a few years I was too pooped to pucker. Did I read that right? No, I had to stop dallying with the Dorises because, no, honestly, I used to suffer from a severe touch of the tabloids. Now, here's some of the genuine headlines you must have read about yours truly. Let's check some of them out. See which one's self-explanatory, that one. Yes. Comic Jim's... Now, that's quite a good one. This is a true story. My brother Bill. Now, if you're watching, Bill, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, but my brother Billy and I are very close. He's older than me. He's 10 years older than me. And we have a way of talking to one another that no one else can understand. But me and him, funnily enough, can understand it. So I'll just talk to him. I was sort of feel I was fishing. Bill and I and our wives went to Barbados for an holiday. And we went out scuba diving. Now, I can scuba dive. And Billy used to be a diver in the Navy, but hadn't dived for a while, so we just went out just snorkeling. You know them snorkels? The ones with the balls on the top. You have to be careful because things go down them snorkels if you haven't got a ball in it. Anyway, I dived down and my flipper came off. And cut a long story short, when I come back to the surface, my brother Billy was drowning. He got cramp in his leg. Honestly, we're in 50 foot of water, 400 yards out from the beach with little people like that on it. And I grabbed me brother. I'll never forget, I thought, if I let go of him now, that's it. He's dead. And I remember during my scuba diving course, they said, he who shouts the loudest lives. I was going, help! They heard me in Plymouth. You know? Jethro said, that you, Jim? Help! Right? And a guy turned up on one of the water bikes and rescued me and my brother. Right? And that's true, that. I saved him from drowning. And that afternoon, he was a bit shaken up. And I said, Bill, what you've got... Billy, what have you got to do? What you've got to do is get straight back in the water. Get rid of that shock, and you've got to face your fear, you know. So I took him to the Sandy Lane swimming pool, and I said, Billy, dive in. We'd had a few by then. Dive in, Bill. And he went in 2 foot 6 of water and smashed all his teeth. Didn't put that in the thing. Come on, let's have some next ones then. What we got? Curtain up or down on Blue Comic? It's up to you. What's this? Panto Star Quips Top... Now, guess where that was? That was the Adelphi Hotel, Liverpool. Oh, yes, the Adelphi... Liverpool's fabulous, and in the middle, there is this Adelphi Hotel, twinned with Beirut. And you know that woman on the television? What was her name? The one that looked like Florrie Cap. Another one? The manageress. What was her name? She threw me out. Right, we were doing Cinderella, that nice mucky panto that I used to do, with Charlie Drake and everyone. I had 27 rooms in the hotel, and she threw me out for complaining. She said, I don't think we like you upsetting the guest, Mr. Davidson. You better sling your hook. That was me, thrown out. Great. Why is Jim Davidson like an Aussie lager? Because they both have 4 eggs. Like this one. Comic Jim's... Now this is a good story. I used to have a boat, right, called Afghan Plains. Now, anyone know where the name Afghan Plains comes from? Let me come down here and tell you. It was after a Rudyard Kipling poem. And my mate, Kevin used to drive me about, and we went through thick and thin together. They were two sisters we knew. And I remember Kevin used to be in my act, because he used to drive me about, sell the merchandise and all that stuff. And one night when I was down in Torquay, I'm digressing slightly here, but I'll come back to the story about the boat. One night, I was telling jokes, and I said to the audience, what do you want to talk about? I said, anyone in from London? Well, I went, yeah. I said, whereabouts, mate? He said, over here. You get it? You had to be there, right? I meant, whereabouts in London you're from, the bloody fool, wasn't it? And everyone laughed their head off. So Kevin said to me, I can do that. I said, what? He said, I'll say, over here. I'll make out I'm in the audience. I said, how will you do that? Well, I'll be in the audience. And when you say you want London, I'll say, over here. Said, great, well, try it. He could be a plant, you know what I mean? Anyone from London? Yeah. He's got makeup on and everything for this. Whereabouts? Over here. Brings the house down every night. Anyone from London? Yeah. Whereabouts? Over here. Best laugh of the night, I swear to God. But it went straight to his head. I heard him in the bar talking to girls. I'm only the over here bloke, that's all. Yeah, he was, yeah. And one night, I was talking about birth control. You know, not the pill thing. What's that thing you... Just like a spring thing. It's coil, that's it. I couldn't think of the name of this, right? So I said to the audience, what's the things you girls have to stop you having babies? And the bloke shouted out, headaches. I brought the house down and Kevin said, I can do that. He said, I'll be headaches as well then. True. Right, so, anyone from London? Yeah, whereabouts? Over here. What's the things you girls have to stop you having babies? Headaches. I said, Kevin, you can't do it from the same place. People will know it's you. You have to move. You mad? I can't say over here and then go somewhere else. So well, go upstairs, stand at the back, do headaches, and then get upstairs. No one can look up then. Yeah, you won't. You'll get. I won't get there in time. You'll shout out. You'll sack me and go. I said I won't. I'll wait. Anyone from London? Yeah. Whereabouts? Over here. I can hear this. He runs down the yard up the top saying, headaches. Well, I ain't bloody said it yet. Anyway, me and Kevin take Afghan planes to Jersey. Horrible big nasty waves. When we got there, it was so bad, we come home by plane. And we had a week in Torquay, and I said, Kevin, we've got to go back and get the old Afghan planes. Can't leave it there. So we jumped on a plane and flew out, and the weather was still bad. In fact, we could see the waves from 35,000 feet up. Oh, it was a bit dodgy. So we get on the boat, and we're on the way back, and this big, horrible, nasty waves going, oh my God, I'm never going to say over here again. The boat's doing it. And you know the way you talk to things, to promise them things, say to the car, come on, don't run out of petrol, please. Come on, don't run out of petrol. Another couple of miles. I promise to clean you. I'm doing this to the boat. I'm saying, come on, I'll give you a nice diesel. Just get home, just get us back to Torquay, right? 60 miles to go, 18 knots, bloody waves, and run out of whiskey, right there. I've got to get back on stage, so I can't get drunk anyway. Kevin, I can't get drunk, I've got to say headaches and over here. Anyone in London? Headaches. So I'm promising the boat things. And then, as we get to the middle of the channel, and it's really rough, I said to the boat, look, Afghan, you get me home and I'll promise to give the last night's money of the show in Torquay to the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, the RNLI. I promised to give them all the money. So I get the sea went flat, of course, and we get back. Now, as I've tied the boat up, I'm starting to move the goalposts on myself now, aren't I? I'm saying, after I've paid the band and the sport act and had the last night party, I will then send the... So anyway, it's true, I send £2,750 to the RNLI with a little note saying, please don't tell anyone it was from me. I'd like to make this an anonymous gesture. You know, I didn't want a goody image all of a sudden. And I figured that if you tell people not to tell anyone, they tell people and they'll say, what a nice bloke, you don't want any publicity. So you get it anyway. It's called buying a stairway to heaven. So I send her the money, no one says anything, it doesn't make the papers, and 6 months later I'm walking around the Southampton boat show and a man from the RNLI leaps out and gets me like this. Come here, Jim, he said, what you've done for us is fantastic. Big crowd of people in the stand. This man give us nearly £3,000 for the RNLI, and I'll bet you're not even a member, are you, Jim? I said, no, in fact, I'm not. He said, right, well, soon sort that. And you've got this form, right, name, Jim Davidson, age, over 21. Name of boat, Afghan planes. Length of boat, 55 foot. Right, he said, 55-foot boat, here's your flag. That's the size of pennant you have, you fly that. He said, you've got a car? I said, well, I don't drive it very often, but I've got one. Be coming to them later on as well. He said, here's your sticker for your car. Now, just sign that and you're now a fully fledged member of the RNLI. So I signed it. I said, thank you very much. He said, 50 quid. Yeah, true story, that. There you go. Now, the only thing that took my name out the headlines was the war in the Falklands. Remember the war in the Falklands? You must remember the war in the Falklands. It was in all the papers. Yes, the war in the Falklands. We won. An away win. Well done, the boys. Yeah, I went down there to entertain the troops and the islanders. In fact, I was going back this year, but they said they'd rather have the Argentinians back. I've had the pleasure of upsetting British troops all over the world. What's this?
Hey, 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 hey. Macho, macho, macho man, yeah. I've got to be a macho. I've got to be a macho, macho man, yeah. I've got to be a macho. Every man ought to be a macho, macho man. Live a life of freedom, macho make a stand. Hey, 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 hey. Macho, macho, macho man, yeah. I got to be a macho, macho man.
Oh, takes me back that day. He's a mate of mine who's done quite a lot of those shows with me. In fact, he's my favourite person in show business. He's a great mate. We've been all around the world together, and here to do my favourite poem, the one and only Richard Digance.
Thank you. Hello. Yeah, the poem that Jim's talking about was one that I wrote about French people, who we all love very much, and I'm going to do it for him now. So, Jim, this is your favourite poem. What do you think? I just got back from the holidays. The leaflet said bright golden sands. So I took their advice and I booked up 2 weeks bed and breakfast in Cannes. So I drove me moped down to Dover, but the ferries was all out on strike. So this kind bloke, he lent me his rowing boat. There was just me and him and the bike. I filled up with juice south of Calais, took the auto route down to the south. I had 10,000 romantic dreams in me head and 10,000 flies in me mouth. Now, it was round about June the 7th I went, and I got there on August the 3rd. Straight in the med to cool down me head, and the first thing I met was this turtle swimming in the other. Now, this is the poem I was doing on stage when I first started working with Jim. But I'm not going to finish that poem tonight. It's Jim's show, so here's one about him. Travelling around the world with this man, I spent nearly 5 years of my life. And every tour, Jim changed his show, and every tour, Jim changed his wife. Yeah, that was the trouble with Jim. He loved cake. That was his downfall, you see. And of all the women he lived with, the one who lasted the longest was me. Not that I'm a woman, you understand. 5 years we spent together, I mean. Though it came pretty close in the Falklands when we shared a sleeping bag in a place called Goose Green. Remember that? You were on top, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
So what was that 5 years with Jim really like? It was 83 when we met. The Victoria Palace with Eric Clapton was our very first show. And the following 5 years I'll never, never, ever forget. In the Atlantic, on Ascension Island, one night I'd fallen asleep. A very dangerous thing when JD is around. Into my room, he proceeded to creep. Now, he covered my sleeping head in shaving foam. A practical joke. That was fine. If someone had stuck a flake up my nose, I would have looked like a huge 99. Now, when he'd gone off to tell his crew what he'd done, here, Kev, I wiped the shaving foam off of me head. Oh, look. I crept into his room, pulled back the quilt and did a childish thing in his bed. 10 minutes later, you should have heard him. He went as mental could be. And to this day, he didn't know who did it. But tonight, I confess, it was me. For 5 years together, we went round the world. From Hong Kong to the Berlin Wall. The Far East, the Middle East, we tore them apart till we got to Middlesbrough Town Hall. Shit, wasn't it? Someone died on stage that night. Yeah, I know. Not one single laugh came to be. And who was that person who died that night? I have to confess again. It was me. I've never ever been back there, to the dreaded Middlesbrough Town Hall. And I doubt very much if Jim has, because apparently he'd on his arsehole as well. Those 5 years I spent with the star of this show were 5 years well spent, I still think. I'll probably remember them better than Jim, because in them days he'd not love a drink. And then I started to tour on my own. But I'll never forget those 5 years with him. One person taught me so much about this business. And I have to confess, it was Tommy Cooper.
I thought I had a leaky roof in Ascension Island. I had to keep on the floor because I thought my bed had leaked until someone told me what someone had done. I'm going to tell you about Richard now. He's a great bloke for charity. He really is. He's a great, great act on stage. Brilliant act, as you saw then. But God was getting his own back. He will do one day. He had this charity football match at Lyme Regis where he used to live. He arranged for all the slebos to turn up, me, Brian Connolly, Billy, loads and loads of slebos. And me and Kevin turn up on old Afghan planes. We're going to park the boat down here, over here, headache, can I play? I'm going to park there. During the game, right, we got our boots on. Richard's got his West Ham supporters' boots on. And we was running around all knackered because he was getting on a bit. And I said to this young lad who was about 6, I said, hey, son, get the ball and dribble all the way through the celebrities and the professional footballers, and we all made out we were falling over, and we let this kid dribble through us, and the crowd were cheering. This little 6-year-old ran the whole length of the pitch and was about to score, and Richard sized him down with a sliding tackle. 2-footed him like that, you rotten swine. Great sense of humour. Where was I? Oh yes, November 1991. Midwinter. I know it was winter because the BBC executive rang my manager up, Laurie, and said it'll be a cold day before we have him here. Anyway, they changed their minds, didn't they? And I had to sign up to do a certain snooker show, and we all know what that is, don't we?
Yes. It's only a game.
I tell you what, that show was great, that. It's been going 7 odd years now, and a very clever trick the producer put together me and a man I've grown to love, the great JV, John Virgo. Do you like John Virgo, ladies and gentlemen? I wasn't too sure of him when we first met. Well, when we did Big Break, he's a bit of a, you know, he's got a sort of a dual personality. Dual spelt D-U-double-L. No, I'm not saying he's wooden, but he uses furniture polish for makeup. When he first appeared on colour TV all them years ago, he still looked black and white, didn't he? If you notice how naughty good he is, what I have on the front of this camera is porter prompt, right? Which is the words come up, right? And John's not very good at that because you speak to him and say, hello, John, how have you been? I've been okay, thank you, comma. Another thing that kept me busy was my new show, The Generation Game. That's my favourite moment in Generation Game, because it's changing and changing and changing. A great old institution that's been running for almost 30 years, longer than my marriage is put together. Right, you know when we do the Gen Game, people come up to me and say, "Here, Jimmy, do those contestants know the games? Have they seen them before?" And that's the producer. They do, people ask me that. And the answer is, in 2 words, N-O. They haven't seen the games before. We do it with actors and the crew and George and Hotshot and Del Boy and all the rest all play around. What happens with the contestants is every week at crack of dawn on Saturday morning, they're brought to the television studio, sedated. Armed guards in the back of windowless vans, blindfolded, then quickly driven for a secret underground tunnel to Studio 3, where they're not allowed to enter in any circumstances till they've said the special password that's been used on the Generation Game for years and years and years. And the password is, "Good game, good game." It's funny, do you know how I got the job on the Generation Game? Bruce went sick. Do you remember that? Yeah. Yes. And they phoned me up and said, "Bruce Forsyth has gone sick. We're doing the show on Friday." It's Wednesday now. They said, "Can you step in and do the Generation Game?" I said, "Yeah, I can do." Yeah, but I thought it was a fit-up. I thought Noel Edmonds was going to get me. Yeah, seriously. And so I said, "Yeah, OK." So I went along to the rehearsal rooms and saw the script, and the bloke showed me where to stand. And then on the Thursday, I came to the studios and saw what was going on and got me little suit done and everything. And on the Friday, they still hadn't phoned me up to see if I was getting paid for it. And I thought, this is definitely a gotcha. Anyway, Friday morning... Right, now I'm doing the show Saturday. Friday morning, the day before the show, the nice woman phones me up from BBC Contract. "Hello, Mr. Davidson, it's BBC Contracts here. We'd like to talk about the money for Bruce Forsyth's Generation Game. It's very nice of you to step in." I said, "Yes, but before you talk money, madam, can I just say this? Can I just say this?" Me after Scargill. "Can I just say this? I think I should get the same money that Bruce Forsyth gets." Now, that was fair, wasn't it? Yes. And she went like that, her eyes shut. She's obviously an agent. My manager does that, is it? "I will be paid." "Of course." She said, "Mr. Davidson, we're not allowed to discuss what Mr. Forsyth gets." I said, "I know you're not allowed to discuss, but Bruce and I are mates, and I know how much money he gets." She said, "I don't think he would tell you his personal." I said, "But you've got to imagine in your head, as he told me how much he gets. So if you think that I know how much he's getting, what you're going to offer me could turn out to be an insult, and I won't do the show." So I've got her now. And she wriggled off. She said, "But what you must understand, Mr. Davidson, is that Mr. Forsyth has been doing this show for many, many years." I said, "Well, he ain't doing tomorrow's, and that's the one we're talking about." Anyway, I did the show. I wasn't very good on that first one, but at least it did make Bruce get better ever so quick. Now, you have to be fit to do these game shows. In fact, my entire TV career, I always seem to have been on the receiving end of anything that came my way.
Just a terrible dream.
I love that. What you see in this series is going to get worse. Do you know, after being a game show host for so long now, people forget I've still got a proper job. The art of doing stand-up comedy. All you need is a microphone. And you're not in this business for anything else apart from to be able to talk to the audience, to make friends, to communicate. And to have them. There we are. And a comedian's microphone. wires, and a bit. Perfect for. I never trust these jokes because when you get these radio microphones, or you pick up a cab, you're talking to something, or you get to the end of the joke, and this woman said, off again. Okay? stand-up comedian's joke. Man went to the doctors. They all start like that, don't they? Right? He said, put your tongue out and go and stand by that window. He said, why is that? He said, oh, I can't stand that bastard across the road. Mike Reed, 1934. And I used to do impressions. Here's one, the Red Arrows. The other one is... This bloke goes to the doctor. He said, doctor, I'm having terrible trouble with my sex life. He said, you're obviously married. No, he said, I'm not married. And he said, I have trouble with sex life. He said, I can't get a woman and I'm not going to go and buy one and have all this. He said, look, he said, I'm into alternative medicine. He said, I'm glad you are, doctor. What can you suggest? He said, it's terrible. He said, well, there's a nunnery down the road. He said, it's starting to sound good. He said, no, you don't go to the nunnery. Outside they have a mushroom farm. I want you to strip off, lie on your back, cover yourself with compost, leave the old little noddy's hat poking out in the mushroom farm and just see what happens. So he lay there like that. Pokius outus, bellendus, mushroom sticky outius. And a beautiful young nun of 18 years of age comes out with her basket to pick mushrooms. She's obviously got the webbing on underneath and the sort of, you know what I mean, Fogels, Bond Street, twang, say no more, dip your bread in. Now, I don't know about you, I love suspenders. I do. Hurt your ears a bit, but... Anyway. Out comes this beautiful nun, complete with webbing. Sprout bags, stockings. No, then, what are they called? Not sprout bags, what are they called? They're French things. The tights make your ass look like a Scrabble board, don't they, girls? I hate tights. Girls, you don't wear tights, dear. Lads, don't make them wear tights. Have you ever seen a burglar going in like that? Well, that's what your asses look like in tights. So, he's laying in the mushroom farm, covered up, poking out, and out this beautiful little nun walks out with a basket, and she's singing a little song. Now, there's no children watching this, hopefully, but you can tell your children this little song tomorrow. Yeah, I quite like this little song, Jeff. And she sings. What's your meaning of this joke, Jeffy? 1 little mushroom for my basket, 2 little mushroom for my basket, 3 little mushroom for my basket, 4. Bloke's quite happy. Tells his mate in the pub. His mate said, oh, try that. There's always a piss bloke who screws the joke up, isn't there, at the end? You know he's going to get it somehow. So he's laying in the mushroom farm, poking out the thing. Out comes the biggest butch nun you've ever seen in your life. Woolly socks and Dr. Martens. She's singing a little song and she's picking mushrooms. 1 little mushroom for my basket, 2 little mushroom for my basket, 3 little mushroom for my basket, 4 little mushroom for my basket. Now you see, you don't get jokes like that anymore. I used to work down Thames Television, right, years ago. And I had this old Rolls Royce, KYP 250p. Never forget this. And this, I tell you this very true story. I'd been drinking with Bob Todd, the legendary Bob Todd. Do you remember Bob Todd with the Benny Hill show with no teeth and the big eyes? I loved him. He was my favourite man. And there was a pub called Anglers where Tommy Cooper was always drinking. Hi, Jim. I want to drink. So you get drunk as a sack. And I had to go to Hereford to play football. And I'd drive on the M4 in the pouring rain, Friday afternoon. And you know the M4 used to have the services near London. Then the other one was where that big pole was. Well, by there is the next services to stop and have a wee. Well, I couldn't wait. You know when it's raining and you've got to go. I don't know how you girls manage to hold it. Could you do that? Blokes sort of... In fact, I don't know how you girls go to the toilet at all. I've no idea. Do you get that bit at the end, like men do, that makes you go... I hate it when you go to the toilet, especially if you've got a light suit on, no matter how many times you shake it, it always leaks down your leg, doesn't it? Wouldn't it be good if you could teach it to go... They're funny things. Have you ever woke up in the morning and you've got a bit of a thing, it's got a bit of a bounce on it and you can't go forever, can you? You stand on your head and wee up your nose, I suppose, you can do that. I don't know what... How do you girls go? I mean, it must be like wringing out a flannel, mustn't it? Actually found a little... Anyway. I'm now on the hard shoulder on the M4 in the pouring rain, having a wee. And you know when you can't stop? That... Oh. And a police car pulls up, and there's two coppers, a big fat one and a little skinny one, and the big fat one gets out, and I cannot stop. I'm trying to stop, I'm grabbing it, and there's just two lots coming out. Everything, splashing. I'm going to be arrested. Everything. And I cannot stop. And this policeman said, "Excuse me, sir." Hand over it. 5. And he said to me, "Is that your car?" I said, "As a matter of fact, it is." And he said, I'll never forget this. "Excuse me, sir, I've reason to believe you've been drinking." I'm having a wee on the hard shoulder of the M4. I've drunk 8 pints of Guinness and a bottle of scotch, and this copper only has reason to believe. And he said, "I'll have to ask you to blow in this bag." Now, perfect, because humour can get you out of the poo, can't it? So I said, "Oh, I've got a bag at home. Tell me whether I'm drunk or not. Thank you, officer." Thinking he'd laugh. You know, he said, "Are you refusing?" Right. You'll be charged with refusing unless you give a sample of your water." I'll never forget that. I said, "Well, that's no problem at all." Well, you don't expect to do it at the roadside, do you? I give him a sample. It was raining as well. I thought that would dilute it a bit. And he's gone back to the constable in the car. He said, "Stubble," because he obviously wasn't on first names with him. Take that to the station and get it analysed. I shall go with Mr. Davidson in his car. Now, he knew who I was, didn't he? He knew that I was Mr. Davidson, Jim Davidson. He wanted to nick me. So I finished up, I tucked myself back and nearly sliced half it off of me zip. And he's grabbed me like this, the car's gone off, it's pouring with rain, he's walked me back to my old Rolls Royce, sitting in the driver's seat. "All right, Kevin, my driver. Over here, headache." Policeman said, "Who's that?" I said, "It's my chauffeur." I said, "Listen. I said, "You don't think I drive around as pissed as this, do you, officer?" And he went all nice. Then he said, "Oh, that makes a difference, doesn't it, sir?" I said, "Yeah, the difference is you've got to walk back to the bloody police station, mate." Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to these old stories. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you soon on the Gen Game. Thanks very much, and good night to you.
And he said, yes, don't miss him. Jim Davidson on the Generation Game. Tomorrow on BBC One, 6 o'clock. Next up tonight, more comedy in the stand-up show.
Thank you. Good night.